Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jeff. So today I'm going to answer a question from Anita De Janeiro. Okay. She says, can you do a video on what is going on in Kauai in terms of Mark Zuckerberg and the land he owns? Is it true he is taking land from Hawaiians? Thank you. This actually it was a really controversial subject back in January, and I remember the first time I read it, it was on the, I don't usually read the West Hawaii Today, this was on the Big Island, but right there smack on the front page of the paper was Silicon Valley billionaire Mark Zuckerberg files lawsuit against Hawaiian families. And I was like, wait a second, because from all the public publicity that he gets, most of it's as a philanthropist, and so knowing what I know about Hawaiians in the way that they've kind of made it very public that they're not going to stand for their land just being bought up anymore, I was surprised. I was like, whoa, how's this going down? So he's going to file a lawsuit. It wasn't that I was picking a side because I didn't know anything. I just know that that particular subject was obviously it's not clickbait because it was on the front page of a newspaper, but it was anyone who saw it would have said, oh wow, they would have instantly had a gripe with Mr. Zuckerberg. I went home and I was like, well, I read the article a little bit, you know, I just picked up the paper and read it, and it said that Kuleana lands were, you know, I think there was 14 home sites that he was trying to buy people out, and they didn't want to sell, so he was taken to court to have to sell it under some sort of law. Long story short, he ended up dropping the lawsuit, calling it a mistake. Just to tell you exactly what was said about that, Mark Zuckerberg is dropping his Hawaiian land lawsuit, calling them a mistake. Zuckerberg is trying to formally acquire a 700-acre plot of land on the island of Hawaii, but he angered his new neighbors. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is dropping a number of lawsuits in Hawaii initially filed so he could formally purchase small plots of land that fell inside a larger 700-acre plot. He and his wife Priscilla Chan bought on the island of Kauai for more than $100 million back in 2014. The lawsuits, called quiet title actions, are used to properly identify the legal owners of property and force them to sell the land at auction, according to Honolulu Star Advisor. In Hawaii, this can apparently be difficult given the many parcels of land have been passed down through multiple generations and a number of descendants can claim ownership. Earlier this week, Zuckerberg described the lawsuits as a way to ensure he could find all these partial owners so we can pay them their fair share. In an op-ed in a local Kauai newspaper Friday, or this was back in January, but Zuckerberg backed away from the plan and called the decision to file a lawsuit a mistake. He said, upon reflection, I regret that I did not take the time to fully understand the quiet title process and its history before we moved ahead, he wrote. Now that I understand the issues better, it's clear we made a mistake. We will continue to speak with community leaders that represent different groups, including Native Hawaiians and environmentalists, to find the best path. Okay, so pretty much, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think what Mr. Zuckerberg is trying to do is he's trying to secure 700 acres, you know, kind of, I guess you would say, and this is just what it looks like, fortify it, right? Secure it, you know, make it so you know, people aren't coming into his house, because he's going to build a single family home, just one, on 700 acres, which if you're really looking to preserve the land, I mean, this is ideal, that a guy has enough money to buy, what, 700 acres, which is, it's like two 350 acre lots, or pieces of parcels of property. They're more than lots, but he's got enough money to buy this whole thing, and he's only going to build one home. Whereas if the plan went through, the original plan was there was going to be about 80 luxury homes built. So it said Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg plans to build a single home on 700 acres of oceanfront land he owns on Kauai's North Shore, even though half the land once held entitlements in place for up to 80 luxury homes, Pacific Business News has learned. Okay, so they're going to build 80 luxury homes, but instead now they're just going to build one. I mean, this is like, in a way, that's kind of like a dream come true for people who really care about the INA, right? And the things that we know about Mark and his, just the way that he goes about things. By the way, I'm not picking a side here, even though it sounds like it. I'm looking at it from a hands-off approach. I'm saying he, he's had the same car for many years. He's the world's 5th or 6th richest man. He wears plain t-shirts. He doesn't overdress. He doesn't do anything in a gluttonous way. He's not overindulgent. Even though some would say, well, why do you need 700 acres? But I think some of that's just for security reasons, but I don't know for sure. Maybe he has other reasons to preserve the land too. But he's not known to rip, toil, and desecrate the land. So one home in place of 80, I think if you really cared about the INA, the land, that's kind of a good thing, right? So that's a good thing. I don't think many people can argue with that. Just, would you rather have 1 or 80? Now, the other side of the story, well, it could be a Hawaiian that owns those 700 acres, right? Because this is the Hawaiian Kingdom. And many times if you actually look at some of my posts and some of the posts just on the internet, the Hawaiian sovereignty movement says that basically Hawaii is not a state. It's a part of the Hawaiian Kingdom. And when the Hawaiian Kingdom is restored, the people who own the land, it will go back to the kuleana, the family, it'll go back to the Hawaiian bloodline, the Hawaiian people, the Hawaiian royalty. So it's like a 100-year lease. The lease only lasts for 100 years. If this particular train of thought is correct, it's kind of like what happened with the British in Hong Kong. The British had Hong Kong for 100 years, and then after they built it up and all that, then they turned it back over to the Chinese. So if in court the Hawaiian Kingdom is able to reestablish themselves as the Hawaiian Kingdom separate from the United States, then would all landowners, including Mr. Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, all the Paul Allen owns a home over here, Michael Dell owns a home over here. I mean, Oprah owns a property over here. Would they, have to turn over their land as per what the lease said? Or what would be the arrangement? I do not know enough about how the law would play out, but I do know that from what I've heard from Hawaiians, just on Facebook, it's hard to, I can't really tell who's a Hawaiian anymore and who's not, because a lot of people, it's kind of like it's like you're famous if you're Hawaiian, right? It's like the famous thing to say around here is if they got Hawaiian, their ancestors and stuff like that. But from what I've understood is, even if they have 25% Hawaiian blood, they still consider that to be the majority. Me, I'm personally, I'm mixed with things between Dutch, French. I even have some Native American in me. I even have Irish, Scottish. Did I say French? So I'm sure one of those I might be 25%, but 75% of me is, so it's hard for me to identify with that. So I can only imagine how I guess if I was living in Scotland or something and I needed to be 25% for some sort of benefit of myself, I might fight that tooth and nail. The fact that I have a small fraction of Native American blood, I know my dad obviously has more than me, but I never tried to pursue it because it's small percentage, but I know a lot of people do, but in Hawaii it's people really stake a claim on that. And some people who really are Hawaiian, you could tell, I guess, by physical characteristics, also by the fact that they have also they qualify for the kuleana land, the land, because of their blood DNA results. Okay, so in this case, there are people who are descendants of Hawaii who do qualify for that 25% or more. and that would be who he had to go to. And I'll tell you right now, these people who own the land, they're not just looking to get a big payoff on that land. They literally want to keep that land whether it just sits there or not. They're not necessarily looking for the money. So to assume that they're just looking for money and more money by making a big huff and puff about it, I'd say that's probably not the case, because I do know that it appears to be fairly accurate to say that there are some people in that movement that do want to reap the benefits of the rewards that would come with, Hawaiian sovereignty, or, getting a big payday from a very rich man. But the majority of those people in that movement really just are spiritually inclined to protect their lands. I can't speak for everybody, though. I don't know what their true heart's intention is, but I do know that there are a lot of people who are fighting this tooth and nail to get the Hawaiian kingdom reestablished. And, Mr. Zuckerberg probably heard about it, but he didn't fully understand the amount of resistance he would get in doing such an action. So he said he regrets ever doing such a thing. Another thing that he did that was upsetting to locals in the area was he built a wall. This Newsweek article, Donald Trump is not the only person causing controversy over a wall. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg is provoking protests over one he built in Hawaii. Around 200 locals, it's not a lot of people, right? But in Kauai it kind of is. 200 locals are expected to march on Saturday in protest of a 6-foot stone wall Zuckerberg constructed around his 700-acre estate on the island of Kauai. People are furious with him, March organizer Joe Hart told Business Insider. There are 14 parcels of land within the Zuckerberg estate that he does not own, and the wall cuts off access to one of them. Locals complain the walls also block views of the ocean. Zuckerberg filed a series of lawsuits. Okay, we already talked about that. So, outside of the fact that people got blocked out by the wall, the other issue is people who live up Maka, up the mountain, they got their view blocked. Some people are complaining about this. It's a 6-foot wall. I'm just, I'm passing on this information here, trying to be unbiased. So, if you want to learn about it, you can definitely look it up. There's a couple news stories where the local population voices their complaints, and they take a real issue with this. The property is a beauty. It's a beauty. I'm looking at it here. I mean, it's a gorgeous one. Oh wow, it's really beautiful. So if you want to take a look at this, by the way, Mr. Zuckerberg initially bought one plot of land, and then after he bought one plot of land, he wanted the second one that was adjacent to it, and that one, here, let's see if we can find that story. When the tech billionaire purchased a 357-acre Kauai plantation near Kilauea, which is adjacent to the 380 acres he purchased from retired Hawaii automobiler James Flugger, the Kauai lands were fully entitled for 80 home sites with paved roads. So he initially bought 357, and then he bought 380 later off a local automobile dealer. So the land is made up of a few properties. In each case, we worked with the majority of owners of each property and reached a deal they thought was fair and wanted to make on their own. So as far as moving forward, he's no longer pressing with the lawsuit, but he's looking at other alternatives to acquire that land and find a resolution for the parcels that are inside his land. So I'm sure I'm sure something will be worked out. I'm not sure it'll always go 100% in his favor, but You know, it sounds like in a way it's a blessing in disguise, because like I said in the beginning, I mean, I'm looking at it from a pragmatic approach. If your big thing is you want to protect the land, the INA, you know, to know that 80 different home sites will not be developed and only one single home. I mean, come on, that speaks for itself, regardless of, you know, who owns it, you know. So that's the story. Thanks for asking.